Good evening, everyone. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. This is a story of a 59-year-old male who is hypertensive and diabetic for more than 12 years, came to us with unstable angina, an echo showing good ejection fraction, but the creatinine levels were 1.3 with an eGFR of 56.5. We proceeded with an ultra-low contrast angiography. We took only 3 projections without panning, with no magnification, which showed distal LM bifurcation lesion Medina 111, and mid-RCA there was a thrombotic total occlusion. We initially treated the mid-RCA with 2 DAS, and we used only 50 ml of contrast, so that qualifies for a ultra-low contrast PCI. Despite this ultra-low contrast PCI and peri-procedural hydration, patient developed AKE and creat went up to 1.7, and the eGFR fell down to 41.5. So we planned for a zero contrast LMC bifurcation PCI after 3 weeks. Right femoral access, 7 of EB3, EBU 3.5 guiding catheter. We engaged the catheter, and it was confirmed by injecting saline and looking for ECG changes and wire and confirmation. So we wired the LCX to OM, keeping this reference image. Then we tried to wire the LED, but it was difficult. As we can see, there are a lot of branches coming out of that point. Then with the help of LCX, I was in the LCX, we could wire into the LED. Then we wired the septal branch, because it is important to skeletonize the coronaries before doing a successful zero contrast angioplasty. We kept the wire in the distal septal, and then we took the first IVS run from LED. It showed diffuse fibrofatty plaque with spotty calcification. So we decided to use a cutting balloon, and we kept on saving fluoros, cine images in between, because that will serve as the core restoration. Coming to vessel diameter, distally it was 3 millimeters. At septal branch, it was 3.6. As proximal LED, it was 3.2. And distal LM, it was 3.18. And proximal reference diameter was 4.5. So we plan to use a 3 millimeter stent distally from the septal branch. And from the ostial LMCA up to the septal branch, we thought of using a 3.5 millimeter stent. Coming to the length of lesion, from the OFCM up to the septal branch, it was 36 millimeters. So we plan to use a 38 millimeter stent so as to flare the OFCM of LMCA. And from the septal branch up to the distal reference diameter was 25 millimeters. So we thought of using a 28 millimeter stent for the overlap. We predilated the LED with 2.5 NC balloon followed by a 3 millimeter cutting balloon. Then we took a IOS run from LCX. Again showed a diffuse fibrofatty plaque. We thought of taking a cutting balloon. Coming to the diameters, distally it was 3.19. The tightest point was measuring 2.62 millimeters, and proximally it was 4.06 millimeters. We thought of using a 3 millimeter stent. Coming to the lesion length, it was measuring from the OCM up to the normal segment, it was 30 millimeters, and for the crushing, we took a 33 millimeter stent. Predilated the LCX with 2.5 followed by 3 millimeter cutting balloon, and we kept the stent, LCX stent, and a 3.5 millimeter balloon in the LED. And the LCX stent was deployed, and the side branch was optimized using the stent balloon, and the first crushing was done using the same balloon, and port crush was done using a 4 millimeter balloon. Then the first recrossing was done through a non-distal strut, then side branch OFCM was opened, then first kissing balloon dilatation was done using 3.5 millimeter balloon in both vessels. Then we took out the circ wire and was kept in the aorta as a marker for the OFCM of the LMCA. And the stent was positioned in LM from the OFCM up to the septal wire marker, and stent was deployed. Then we fired the OFCM using the stent balloon. The first port was done using a 4.5 millimeter balloon. Then the second stent was deployed with a 2 millimeter overlap. Then again recrossed through a non-distal strut. Serial dilatation of the OFCM with 2 followed by 3 millimeter balloon. Then sequential kissing was done with 4 millimeter balloon in LED and 3.5 in LCX. And final port was done using a 4.5 balloon. The final IOS run from LED showed distal stent edge was perfect. Middle LED was measuring 5.25. Proximal LED was 7.62 millimeter square. Proximal LMC was 11.53. And the stent was well opposed and well expanded. From LCX, IOS run showed distal LCX stent edge was showing non-dissection. OCL L6 was measuring 5.71 millimeter square, and there was an area of malopposition in between, which we corrected with NC balloon. This is the final result. Patient did not have any symptoms during the procedure, no ECG changes. Serial echo during and post-procedure showed no effusion, and serial creatinine values range from 1.6 to 1.7 during hospital stay, post-discharge, and at 1 month of follow-up. So a CAN has a significant impact on long-term prognosis and is independently associated with higher mortality. In patients with high risk of developing CAN, zero contrast angioplasty with IOS guidance is safe, effective, renal protective, and it improves PCR results both short and long term. With systemic analysis, IOS can replace most of the steps in contrast injections in PCA. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. We were blind throughout the procedure, but we were having the vision to use this great tool and to make the life of a CKD patient better. Thank you.
What is the total contrast used?
2 ml, sir,
To
for the check injection, final injection.
So I understand the story is that the baseline creatinine was 1.3,
1.3.
GFR 50, and then after 50 cc, the creatinine went up so high.
Yes, sir.
That is an unusual response if there is nothing other there, because you already took care. Did you do liberal fluid substitution?
Yes, sir. Post procedure, we were hydrating the patient.
And still you have, after
Yes,
2 cc, an increase of creatinine from 1.6 to 1.7?
Yes, sir. It went up to 1.7 from 1.
any blood loss was there? What could be the reason for?
Maybe because
any
of
other
the-
reason for any
Maybe the
hemorrhagic
patient
loss?
had any hypotension during the index event. Maybe
No
because-
access bleedings, no hematomas.
No access bleeding, sir.
So what you will do if patient will have angina? After you have stented, after you have your IVIS, patient will start having angina. What will you do?
Then we will be forced to do check injections.
Good, nicely presented.